Password accepted. You may now enter the bunker.
Hello and welcome to Enter the Bunker. The building brick is Kelly.
And I'm Jonathan.
And it's Thriving Thursday, so we're going to debate.
Is that what we're doing?
So we're having a debate today. We don't know the topics besides the one that you're going to see in a second. It's going to be our first one. It's what's on our screen right now. And we don't get to pick what side of the debate we want to be on. And I bet you they've made it fun for us.
What does this have to do with confidence?
So we have to be confident.
Okay. So the one who has the most confidence in their position wins?
Yes.
Okay.
If you've been watching our show for any amount of time, you may other debate shows or something similar, and I pretty much just get shut down.
What? Come on. Shut you down.
I went into this very confident that he will do a great job at debates.
And I told her if she wants to be good at debating, imagine what a good debater would do and then do that.
Oh, and that's what I'm going to try.
Okay.
All right. You can do it, Kelly. Hey, Pampit. Hello. Welcome in. Okay. So the first one is Kelly is debating for speaking at an in-person conference, and versus Jonathan's debating for a Zoom.
I have to back about why Zoom meeting is better than in person. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Start with letting Kelly give her.
Me? Yeah. Okay. And this is what. Okay. All right. Let's go. So speaking at an in-person conference is better because you get to see their beautiful faces. There. We're just going back and forth.
Okay.
I don't know what else. Okay.
Yeah, but when you do a Zoom call, you get to see their beautiful faces, but then you don't have to put up with how they smell. Like,
I was thinking
sometimes they got some bad breath out there, like those kind of people that at conferences, not quite hygienic.
Yeah.
And also they're kind of, all those germs these days. Ooh, don't want to have that, dude. Zoom calls are safe and healthy.
When you're speaking at an in-person conference, you're speaking to people and you're not having to stare at yourself in it like a Zoom meeting. Your picture of yourself is there, and a lot of the time you're talking to yourself and you're not actually talking to your audience.
That's true. When you have the Zoom call, there's this tendency to look at yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is you can tell that you're looking good. Whereas when you're actually in person, you could have like a piece of cheese hanging off your cheek and you wouldn't even know it. And nobody's going to tell you. You're just going to walk around with it, just embarrassing yourself. But with the Zoom call, you can make sure the lighting's good. You got the right angle. You got the right, and so you're always looking good. And you're talking to yourself. So you feel good when you're doing it with a Zoom call.
No, you don't actually feel good. It's not good for your brain. Talking to yourself. You're supposed to be like, we're humans. We're supposed to interact with each other on a physical connection sort of thing.
Yeah, you can do that with emojis in Zoom calls. So you can send emojis that tell you like how you're feeling. And when you get those little emojis that give hearts to whatever you're saying, you feel good. But when you're talking to someone in person, you can't tell. Like they're not, you can't, you're looking at them, you're like, what's this person thinking about what I'm saying? I can't tell. I don't know. But if they just sent me a little emoji saying heart or something like that, or love it, or 100% or something, then I'm like, okay, now I'm getting some feedback. This is awesome. This is why Zoom calls are better.
I think when you're speaking at an in-person conference though, like when you have your breaks, you actually get to like physically get up, kind of chat with people in between breaks. You don't just have to be by yourself. Because when you're in a Zoom conference, like everybody turns their mics and their video off, and then you just kind of go off and be by yourself. And then, but if you're in person, you could socialize in the breaks and talk about what you've just learned. And then when you go for lunch, you can actually go for lunch with somebody. You don't have to eat your lunch by yourself.
See, that's actually a benefit to Zoom calls, is being able to turn off that camera and go about whatever you want. I could be just like, I can go off and like, I could be doing the Zoom call from the washroom and I could not have to miss a beat. And so it saves all kinds of time and nobody has to know that I'm in the washroom while I'm on the Zoom call.
Jimmy says, Zoom, you don't have to go anywhere.
Go.
Um,
And you're saving the earth. Yeah. By doing Zoom calls, you're helping save the planet because you're not wasting all kinds of emissions and gas and stuff like that going around the world to have to meet in person. Yeah.
you had to get probably a better internet connection, so pay more.
That sounds
month.
good.
Okay, this was a good debate, guys. What would you rather, speaking at an in-person conference or a Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
What would
do
you
you think?
rather, deep down, like you?
I would say in person. Yeah. 100% like what I really prefer
Yeah,
is in person.
yeah,
Yeah. Even though, I mean, I'm not much for conferences. Like whenever I go to them, I'm kind of awkward in terms of like meeting new people.
yeah,
But I just find there is an energy that you don't get from Zoom calls.
yeah.
And also you're able to be more attentive to
Yes.
whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Because with the Zoom, what's happening? You got maybe some kind of other notification coming in, or you're just like clicking around
Or
on your
you're
computer while you're doing
too
it.
focused looking at yourself, wondering
Yeah,
what you
or
look
you're
like.
yeah, exactly. So I prefer the in-person ones. I think, and there's just the ability to be able to make real connections with
Yeah,
people.
yeah. My employer paying for my food while at the probably. Okay. How do I go to the next? Oh,
You did it.
go. So our next debate is homeschooling versus not homeschooling. You're against homeschooling, and I'm for homeschooling. Oh, Destiny says, I love Zoom, but that's because I'm a hardcore introvert. Will there be freedom? Okay, so homeschooling versus no homeschooling. You're against it.
Yeah, you want your kids to grow up to be freaks? Homeschooling is ridiculous. How are they going to be able to learn to be around other kids and participate in society if they're at home with mommy all the time?
That's what sports are for after in the evenings, and you can register them. There's actually communities for homeschooling parents, and there's Facebook groups.
So the crazies stay with the other crazies. Is that what you're telling me?
Also, when
They
you're
don't get to know
when
other
you're
people.
homeschooled, you don't need to wear a mask,
Okay.
and public schools do. So I think that's just
About homeschooling, but private schools you don't have to wear a mask either.
oh, that's a good one.
So send your kids to private school. Don't homeschool them because they are not going to be able to socialize properly. And then, of course, they're not going to be able to learn anything really because what's happening? The parents are teaching the kids. They're not teachers. They haven't gone to school and been educated in how to educate children properly. So the kids never really learn anything.
But it's more one-on-one learning. The kid gets more hands-on, and it's you can homeschooling, you can teach them about real life stuff and not like the new way they do math that you're never going to do again. Or stuff like that. You can teach them how to plant a garden, and you can teach them real stuff that you're going to use and not fractions and stuff.
Look at this. Look at this. We need people who are going to be highly skilled. You want your child to grow up to be a gardener, really? Then homeschool them. But if you want them to be somebody who grows up to have a real profession like a doctor or a lawyer or somebody who is able to be very successful, then you don't homeschool them. You send them to school.
PJs all day. PJs all day. Okay, let's
All
see.
the more reason they won't even learn how to dress themselves if you homeschool them. What are you going to do then?
Bev says one of my nieces was homeschooled till she was till grade 12. Ah. And Destiny says regular school all the way.
Oh.
My adopted family was homeschooled until later, and they were so stunted, and they blamed the parents for it. Their education level was same, but socially it was so bad. That is something that you do have to be careful with. So like, oh yeah, yes, but like I said, you can put them in sports, and there is communities nowadays where you get together with other homeschooling parents, and you meet at parks at certain times, and you do stuff as a groups too. So it's not so not as what everybody pictures, like they're trapped in a dungeon.
This sounds so unsafe. You
Oh
are
my
gonna
God.
bring people to a bunch of strangers that are going to
You get
be
to
around
know
your kids.
them.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely going to be a recipe for disaster. This is why you should send them to a proper school, not homeschool.
All right. Homeschooling with a lot of camping and out. Yes, Sala. See, this is what I'm saying. Got to teach them real life stuff.
What are you going to do in the winter? We live in Canada. You're going to turn them into freezy pops?
You
What are
can
you going to
camp
do?
in the winter.
Yeah, okay.
They did the communities and sports things too, but it still wasn't enough. Interesting. It's like working from home or in. Okay. Let's go on to our next debate. I think I won there.
Oh,
I don't know. Destiny's making me feel like I didn't, but
Folks, let us know. Who do you think won that debate?
yeah, let us know. Okay. So debate number 3. So private healthcare versus universal healthcare. So Jonathan is for universal healthcare and I'm for private health. Remind me again the difference?
Okay. So,
Like, well, okay, 1 second. Like United States, that's private. They have like
private healthcare is where you pay for your healthcare,
right.
and it's going to be provided by a company.
So we have both here.
No, we have universal healthcare provided by the government.
But what about the private one? Like you have your Sun Life.
So those aren't healthcare.
Okay.
So dental health isn't considered in Canada to be something you should care about.
Only up until the age of 12.
Yeah. Okay. We get paid up. Yeah. So it is universal up until
the age of 12.
the age of 12 or 16, I
14
think, or
something.
something like that. Yeah. So certain amount of dental up until a certain age. Universal health care is clearly something which everybody should have because it is a right to care for people. If you are a caring nation, you should be taking care of the health of your people and not to have it so that the poor end up having to suffer because they got to pay they have to pay to private healthcare people. There should be universal healthcare so everybody is able to be taken care of the same way and you don't have to stress out about actually there's studies that show countries that have universal healthcare will actually show that their citizens have less stress, they have less illness, they are happier generally, and they live happier lives. So with all of that, that's what universal healthcare does.
So your taxes are going to be way higher. Way higher. Private healthcare, well, I feel like you're born into it. It's not just something that gets thrown into your country or whatever. So private healthcare, like, you can pay for better. You can pay to get better things. So if you want something, I don't know. I feel bad for the people who don't have money. Okay, 1 second. Private healthcare. Sala, you are for private. Tell me. Private healthcare is so much better for level of care if you have the funds for it.
If you have the funds, have you noticed people are struggling to pay for food these days?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an issue. I don't even know if I can debate this.
Come on, where's your confidence?
Okay, my confidence. Right, I have confidence. Yes. I don't know. Should you suffer or die if you don't have the funds for it? Okay, right. I'll go on to what I was trying to think. So if you're born into it, like I said, it's not like it's a spur of the thing. So maybe you should just go get yourself a good job so you can pay for your own healthcare.
Okay.
I just like if you're born into it and you know you're gonna have to pay for it, then yeah, get homeschooled.
So in the U.S., they have insurance.
Right, they have Obamacare or something.
Well, that got introduced, but they have that. They have everybody who lives in the U.S. has to pay for health insurance so they can afford to get the private care when they.
So they have to pay for insurance on top of.
So like when you get a job, generally speaking, you will actually have to pay like a certain premium for health insurance, and that health insurance is what pays for your private healthcare.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because if you actually got the bill for it, it would be astronomical. And broke,
Right, right.
which is why universal health care matters
Yes.
and why it's better. I just walked you right into
Yes.
that.
Well, you're here actually at the very first of the debate. You started going on, and I was like, yeah, yeah, like, and I was like, okay, I can't be, I can't be shaking my head to this. Destiny. However, I've struggled with universal care because I've been chronically ill for years and only now got my diagnostics. Yes, exactly. With universal health, yeah, I'll go off here for a second. For instance, with universal health care, like if they know something's wrong with you, they'll put you on a waiting list and they won't just take you right in and fix. Okay, so say I my heart is only pumping at 25%. Or sorry, it's pumping at 75% right now. And they've clued into this, but they're like, no, we're not gonna do anything until it gets to 50. And then we're gonna put you on a waiting list. It'll probably be at 25. But instead of them fixing it at the 75%, my better chances of living, everything. I'm younger at the time because this is probably 2 years down the road that they're actually gonna fix my heart when it's only working at 25%. But private
75.
healthcare, 75. Private healthcare, you can get it fixed right then. So there's my rant for it.
So what ends up happening in the private care system then is what you're saying is you end up getting overdiagnosed with things that may not need treatment at all so they can make more money. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like. So I see how that with universal health care, what happens is it allows for people that generally don't really have something that needs to be diagnosed and fixed because the human body is an amazing thing and it can heal itself. And people in today's age are being bombarded with the idea that they're sick and that they need doctors to fix them. That's not true. Universal health care allows for people to actually heal themselves. So by the time they actually are going to get to this possible treatment, they don't need it anymore. So you save money in the system not needing to do this, and you don't end up with a bunch of doctors treating you like a pincushion to be able to make more money off of you.
Private healthcare because a lion is healthier and stronger in the wild than comfortable lion in zoo. I think he's referring to the hospital.
The connection to private health care and that. I don't.
Destiny says universal healthcare causes death too. Yeah, because they wait forever to do anything about anything.
But the percentage of that is much lower compared to what happens with overdiagnosing and causing more people to have to pay more money to the hospitals. That's
But
what happens.
I feel like
So
you're not
many,
gonna.
there's so much more malpractice happening in private healthcare compared to universal.
I think we should have both.
Oh, so now you think universal healthcare is good? I see it.
Okay, next topic. All right.
What do you really think?
I obviously universal. I don't know. I once I got talking about the whole with universal healthcare, you do have to wait, and I've watched it happen with like my parents and my grandparents, and like where they just have to wait for certain appointments where they should, if they had got it in sooner, it would have been less of a procedure and so on.
So that isn't a universal healthcare problem. That's a government problem,
Okay,
right?
so then I would go universal.
Because the whole mechanism is set up when you have a system set up in such a way where there is where the compensation is in certain ways
Yeah,
that it doesn't depend on you being healthy, it depends on you being sick.
right.
And you create a system that just postpones these types of things and then just wants to pump you with drugs, and then you end up with a system that's not really caring for your health at all.
Yeah.
On top of that, if it's universal per se, what happens when the government decides you shouldn't have it anymore? What do you do
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people, I just know that like I've seen the debate in Canada. There's actually quite a calling for allowing for private care to operate in Canada as well.
Yeah. Like
Right?
having both.
Yeah, having
Yeah.
both so that if you do have the money, you don't actually go into the system and
Yep.
then you just go and pay for it for
you get it
whatever you do.
done.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
get your own health insurance.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So some people have the means and some of them actually do that. They won't do it in Canada. They'll
They'll
travel
go-
to another country.
Yeah, you actually
You
hear
know?
that a lot for like treatments and
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
treatments or
like-
procedures.
So I have a cousin who lived in the States and he had to have a back surgery done. If he did it in the States, it would be like it was gonna be like $80,000 or something crazy like that. Right? But he did a whole bunch of research. He ended up doing what's called medical tourism, where people are traveling to a place where they can be able to get a certain
Yeah.
procedure done,
Yeah.
and then traveling back, because for the amount of the vacation and the procedure is a fraction of what they would paid for the procedure in the US.
And you get a vacation out of it.
And you get a vacation out of it. So he ended up going to Russia.
Wow.
Right? He went all the way to Russia, got the procedure done, everything was great, and then he came back. Just like
Wow.
that. And ended up being like $5,000 or something like that. Like something crazy, like low cost for back surgery.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
Okay, we'll get into our last topic, and I think that's all we'll have time for. Gosh, there's lots here. Let's pick our last one. Hey guys, help us pick our last one. So we have transparency versus privacy of data. We have against the social credit system versus for the social credit system. I don't know.
Yes,
So.
you do. We've talked about
I'm
this.
just and Friday night karaoke versus an original band playing for the first time. Actually, let's just do. You guys pick for us. Let us know. Which one would you pick while we wait for
Credits.
Destiny says, "Oh, I'll do the data one, but make."
Okay.
I feel like you'd be good at that.
I could debate both sides
You
Yeah,
definitely
because
could.
I know it too.
Karaoke. Shelby says karaoke. Oh, Friday night
Nobody-
karaoke.
nope. Talk about. Want to face the music?
Yeah. I feel like that would actually make the live go really. Keep it at transparency and privacy. I'm with Destiny. Okay, that's 2 for this one. So.
Okay,
All right.
that's what we're doing.
Privacy.
All the way.
Yeah. What the heck? Michael, you put me on these sides. Okay, so you definitely always want to be open about everything.
Is this what you do when you go to the washroom?
I open my legs and I sit on the toilet. Tried to come up with a joke for it.
When
What?
you go to the washroom, you want privacy. When it comes to your data, you want privacy. And the truth is, actually, societally, if they found that actually when there is more transparency of how much, for example, everybody has for wealth,
Yeah.
they've found there's more distrust within a society where everybody knows what everybody has.
Yeah.
So transparency is very bad for society as a whole. You want to have privacy because you don't want everybody to know what it is that you own. You don't want everybody to know your personal information, right? So privacy of data is just it's essential to life. We all have secrets. It's part of our biology, right? So why would you force somebody to have to be transparent about things that they just naturally not be transparent about? I want to go poop. I'm not going to do it in front of you. And you're saying do it in front of you. That's crazy. Why would you do that?
Because like okay, so if it was like a norm and just yeah, so we could see stuff like what is really behind the government's doors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like we want to see I want to see the transparency behind everything.
So if the government goes and starts showing everybody everything going on, then you're going to start wars everywhere. And you're going to have people die. Do you want people to die?
Gotta be done. It's gotta be done.
Oh, so transparency causes people to die.
Depopulation.
Whereas if you have privacy of data, then everybody stays safe. Sounds like privacy of data is a safe thing to do, and to keep people living, you want to have privacy of data.
Yeah. Sounds like that. Yeah, so I think transparency though, when you're a very transparent person, like I feel like you're going to be nailing all of the building bricks that we've been practicing right on the head because you're being honest, you're being open, you're being all of those building bricks. And it's just like they're just all there because you're open about everything and you're
So right now, what's happening in Facebook and in Google and all these big tech, financial tech companies is we have forced transparency to them that is not actually privacy of data for us, right? So that transparency is allowing them to be able to manipulate everything about you. So yeah, you're letting them know about, oh, I love to shop here and I love to talk to so and I loved about these topics, and all that's transparent to them. So if we had privacy of data though, then they wouldn't know all that kind of stuff, so they can manipulate you to and constantly be like bombarding you with ads and then actually only showing you certain information instead of actually knowing the truth about things. So privacy of data actually makes it so that rather than having it transparent to all these big tech companies the way you want it to be, makes it so unsafe, because we've seen what happens when we allow our information to be transparent to them. We really need to have privacy in order to save the world. You want to save the world, don't you?
Who won the debate? I need to call. Excuse me. So I think we all know who won this fair and square. What do you really think?
So blockchains are transparent.
Yes.
They are public,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But they're only so there's a certain element of privacy to them as well,
Mhm.
depending on what blockchain you're dealing with.
Yep.
Monero, for example, is completely private, right? You cannot tell who's transacting what or how much anybody has and all this kind of stuff. So it's completely private, complete privacy. I think that when it comes to data, a lot of people are confused by the idea of anonymity versus privacy. I don't believe in anonymity. I don't think that's possible, right? We all have an identity of some kind. But when it comes to data, it's just that now we don't have control over our privacy. Remember when I talked about Google and Facebook and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff?
yeah.
We just don't have control. Like
Right.
there's just and even the laws and the way they are, it's just we can't control it. It's always actually all the laws are talking about third parties controlling our data,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's just like, just how about you just don't let them? So let's do that. And so if people had privacy, had control over their privacy, then I think that they could be able to actually have real ownership over their information.
Yeah.
Versus the way it is now, where it's like everybody else has your information,
Yeah.
and now you're supposed to trust them to be able to not use it in an unethical way, which they are. We all know it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's happening. Yeah, I'm definitely on the side for privacy of data. Like I'm not. These were hard. I think they purposely gave us the opposite ones.
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Sometimes. I mean, I could have debated both more. Anyways, that's this week's Thriving Thursday for Confidence. Okay. Does that person's privacy go above someone's right to self-protection? Oh,
Health. I think that's about vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I think that's what she's.
what
Okay.
about if someone has COVID and goes into what about the rights of other people?
Yeah.
That's a whole other subject.
So that's she's
Yeah.
she's dovetailing off of that whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we've been told years now, right? In order to demand the privacy of our data to be handed over
Yeah.
to others, like to strangers.
Jimmy Joe says, and the winner is Jonathan for his confidence in expressing his given side.
Woo. Candy bar.
Good job.
Thank you,
You're-
Jimmy Joe.
You're a good debater. All right. Cool. So that's it for today.
That's it for today.
Next week is tolerance. And I'd give you a hint, but I don't.
We'll
gonna have
see
to
what
be a
they're going to do
secret.
to us then.
Hopefully you can tolerate us.
Yeah.
Then.
Have a great day, everybody.